I'm Ben, one of the developers of the Straple design system, and today we're going to take a look at the colour palette. So the way that we've developed the colour palette for the Straple design system is to focus on a framework which can cascade all the way through your entire brand. So whether that's the visual identity of the brand, or that's the UI components or the UI applications that you're going to be developing. We focused on non-name specific conventions. So we have primary dark, light, we have contrasts of those colours, we have secondary base colours, and we have quite an extensive grayscale range to accommodate UI and also other brand elements. So let's take a deeper look into that now. Hi, I'm Ben. Let's take a look at colour palettes inside the Straple design system. We've taken our Straple design system folder, duplicated it to our folder. So let's take a look at colour palettes within the Straple design system. I've copied the folder over to the desktop we named demo. So let's just go into that folder, and I'm going to open up our Straple 1.0 framework, or we've relabeled it here to demo. So I'm going to open this up. And here you can see we have two artboards. One contains all of the solid colours within the design system, and then one also contains the stroke colours. So what we've done here is look at non-specific names for all the colour palettes and try to accommodate as much as possible, and focus on contrasts of those colours rather than specific values. So we have our primary colour palette, and then we have the extension of light and dark. We then have secondary, and again same light and dark. And then we have our grayscale palette, and that covers from lightest, light, lighter, all the way through to mid, dark, and darkest and darker. These values then translate over to our React framework, which also uses the same naming convention. So then we have our stroke colors. So the reason we've done this is so that then we can independently apply different strokes or borders to our elements as opposed to the background solids as well. So how do we update this information? If we go back to our Finder window and we open up our brand book, you can see here that we have a color palette, and we've outlined the information from dark, darkest, darker, etc. So we don't have to update this information. What we would do is go over to our demo, and let's take a look at the pink color. And we're going to grab that pink, and we're going to change the color to, say, a blue. So let's find a nice blue within here. And that'll do. We'll take the hex value and we'll update the hex value here. So then we're going to grab our secondary color, and for now I'm going to color pick the first one, and then I'm just going to choose a lighter tone of that. Update the hex value. And we're going to choose the dark and repeat the process. Color pick here and then choose a darker tone. And update the values. Now all we have to do is grab all of those colors and then refresh our styles. So now we can go over and update our stroke weights, and we can color pick from there. So one thing which we should have done is, if we go back here, when we grab our fill, we can add to our document colors. So let's add these to the document colors now. We'll remove the old pinks so we can maintain some consistency here. Grab the light, add that, grab the dark, and add that one. So now when we go over to our strokes, we can now just choose from those colours. Light and dark. Grab all three of those again, and then just update. Now we can save our file. So once that's now saved, we can now move over to our brand book, And we can see that there is now a library update in the top right hand corner. So if we click this library update, we can now see that it's showing that the solid colors have now changed. So we update our symbols, and now our color palette has been updated. So this happens throughout the entire system. We're going from framework to brand and then to UI. So let's save this and then move over to our UI. So if you open base, now we have already got a design here. We've got this recipe app that we've kind of designed for the purpose of showing Straple. Here we're using imagery from the Rustic Vegan. Go check his work out over at Unsplash, or look at his recipes on therusticvegan.com. His photography is incredible. It's super vibrant and colourful, so we thought it'd play really well into the Straple design system. So we have a button here, and it's using the pink from the old framework, and we want to update this button. So because we've already made those changes, again, our library updates are available. We just hit the library update and then update. And now all of our strokes have been changed and our color palette has been updated in the UI. So we've gone all the way from our base framework, which is the heart of everything we work on, through to the brand book, and then through to our UI as well. So that's as simple as that, using the color palettes. So how do we use the color palettes within UI itself? So if we go back to our demo and we go to our custom components, you can see here that we've already got a pre-built component. And within this, we can select our imagery symbol that comes from our library, and we have a series of overrides available. So in here, we can look at changing the icon colors, we can change all of the information, but if we come down to image, we also have access to the color palettes from the image, so we can apply overlays of color to those images as well. We can also add now from our insert. So if we go here and say we wanted to add a new color palette background, we would choose a solid. So rather than drawing our rectangles or applying from our styles, we would add the color here, and we may decide that we want a slightly light card component. So let's add this over here. We can drag that to the size that we want it, and then we can build that out. We can always, if we want radiuses on this, we can always mask that out and create radiuses. But then that allows us, once we've turned it to a symbol, to be able to have the background as an override. So if in the case that we want to use another example of this and we change the background, they now become just overrides, and we can simply change that. And again, we can apply that to a border. So if we go down to our insert and we add in our symbols back to palette, stroke, and then we're going to choose a square here, and then we'll choose a mid-turn. We can add that stroke in, and we can resize that. So now if we're creating this card component, we can now select both of those elements, and when we create the symbol, we can then rename these to, say, border, rename this to, say, background, group those, create a symbol from this, we'll call it card for now. And now you can see that we have the overrides for all of the square border radiuses, and also now the background colors. So it gives us a lot more control, as opposed to using the library styles for color palettes, because as a sketch library, we cannot translate those color styles over to our other files, not until Sketch provides an update where shared libraries can now work across all Sketch files. So that's it. That's updating colors and using the color palette within the Straple design system.